Hello guys, this video is going to be a bit conceptual. So we will be looking into the different kind of connection mode we can have, right? So you can see that up till now we were making the use of these CSV files or this Excel workbook, and we have seen over here that we can have these multiple other connection mode as well. So we will be exactly looking into that if we are working as a business analyst or if we are working as a data analyst, then what kind of connection mode we can exactly have, right? So that will be completely depending upon the company's use case or what exactly the company's policy is. So up till now, we were making the use of the CSV files, right? So that's because this particular video is going to be a bit conceptual, so that's why I will be giving you the notes on the screen as well. So you can see on the screen that the different kind of connection mode that we can have. So there are total four kind of connection mode that we can have, right? So the first connection mode is going to be the import mode. So now, up till now, the kind of connection mode that we were making the use of was this import mode itself. So this import mode will be helping you out to access the information which is stored in a kind of format like a CSV file. So we were making the use of CSV file only. So when we are having such a kind of information which is being stored somewhere already into a kind of exported data, or not in a kind of database from where we have to scrap the information in a kind of live format, then for such a kind of data which is being exported or which is already being stored in a kind of format like CSV file, so that kind of data we can work with if we are working on with this kind of connection mode, and that is the import mode, right? So the CSV file connection mode is going to be the import mode, wherein as soon as we are going to work with this kind of data, the data will be getting loaded into the backend of Power BI. Right? We were showing you that ETL technique, that is extract, transform, and load, wherein the information was getting accessed at the backend, and then we were bringing in some transformation, and then we were loading it in the memory of Power BI. So such kind of data which we are working with in the case of import mode, so such kind of data is being accessed or is being reserved at the memory of Power BI itself. So if you're working with a bit of large amount of data as well, not exactly a very large data, but somewhat large data if you're working with, then this specific connection mode, that is the import mode, will be able to change this data or will be able to compress this data up to 1 GB, so that that specific data can be stored into the memory of Power BI. So in this kind of connection mode, that is import mode, memory of Power BI will be used to store the data, right? Then if you want to perform any of the calculations, like if you want to bring in some changes, like if you want to make the use of Power Query Editor, if you want to make the use of your own data modeling and DAX functions, then you will be able to do it over here. So this import mode will also be helping you out in that way. Then if your source data is not exactly getting changed, right? So as we are working with this specific project, so in this project, you might would have seen that we are working with the data which is already there into a CSV file. So we are not bringing in the changes, or the source data is not exactly getting changed, right? We have already stored the information into a CSV file, and that information we are accessing for the analysis purpose, right? So in this import mode, the kind of data we are going to work with, that shouldn't be changed. So once we are having a data, it should remain the same as it is, so that we can work with this import mode kind of connection mode, right? So if the data is getting changed, then you have to simply go forward with the next connection mode, and that is going to be the direct query mode. So you can see on the screen, we are having a second connection mode, and that is the direct query mode, wherein, for example, if we are having the information stored into a database, so we are trying to access the information from the company's database, or if we are having the information stored into a cloud storage, from where, as per the company policy, you won't be able to access this information direct into your Power BI backend, and you have to access the information from the main source or the company's database itself, then you have to make the use of this direct query mode. So you have to make sure that the data can be accessed here from the main source only. So this thing you have to make sure in the case of direct query mode. Then along with that, the data set, if it is too large, like we were discussing a situation wherein with respect to import mode, the information can be stored or can be compressed up to 1 GB only. But if you are having a large amount of data, like if you are having these crores of rows, so in that specific case, definitely working with the import mode might not come out to be an optimal option, right? So that's why in this specific scenario, we have to go forward with this direct query mode, right? So we will be going forward with this direct query kind of connection mode if the data is being accessed from the main source only. And if the data source is or if the data is getting changed over here frequently as well, still we can make the use of direct query mode. As definitely in the company's database, the company will be appending the data, or the data will be getting appended in the company's database, right? So definitely there are chances that the data will be getting changed. So we can say the statement that if the source data is getting changed frequently, then also we're gonna make the use of this specific mode. But what if there is a situation wherein we are having the information that is stored into a CSV file as well, and the information is there into the company's database as well? So this completely depends upon the kind of business case you are having, right? So if you are working with a business case wherein the company is storing their data into a CSV file, then you can make the use of the connection mode as import mode. On the other hand, if the company is storing that information into their database itself, then you can make the use of direct query mode where the information can't be accessed in the backend of Power BI. Along with that, if the company is storing their information into the backend, into their database as well, and into the CSV file as well, then you can go forward with this new connection mode, and that is going to be the composite model mode. So in this case, you can have both direct query kind of data and imported data. So if you're having such a kind of data, then definitely in composite mode can come out to be the most optimal option. But in this case, even if you're having these multiple direct query modes, so if you're having the information stored into these multiple databases, still you are going to have a single model itself. So this single model will be handling that whatever information is being stored in these multiple models. So into the data model of Power BI itself, we will be storing the information which is there in these multiple models. So at the end of the day, even if you're having the information stored into the CSV files along with into the company's database, you have to simply go forward with a single model only. And that option you can have in this composite model option. And the final connection mode that we can have. So just like in the case of software development, wherein the information is stored in the GitHub repository, right? So these software developers are bringing in the changes from their side, so that one of the developer is bringing in some changes, or he's committing some of the code, and then there is a second developer who is also committing the code right into the main GitHub repository. So in a similar way in Power BI as well, we can have a kind of connection mode, and that is going to be the live connection. So in this live connection mode, you can have the information or that is being there into a major source itself. And then the multiple Power BI developers can work here, right? So if you're having a team wherein there are multiple Power BI developers who are working, wherein one of the developer is involved in creating these visualization, and the second developer is involved in creating these data models, then you can go forward with this live connection mode, wherein from the main source itself, both of these developers will be able to access the information, but the role of one of the developer is going to be to create these data model, and the role of the second developer is going to be to create these visualizations. So if you are working in a team and if you want to access the information from a main source itself, then you can definitely go forward with this live connection mode, right? So the four connection mode we have discussed, and definitely for our own use case or for our project course, we are going forward with this import mode only. So we will be working with this import mode only just because the information is stored into a CSV file. So the information is not getting changed, and we are not exactly accessing the information from the company's database, right? So that's why for our use case, we will be going forward with this import mode. But if you are becoming a data analyst or a business analyst, then you need to explore each and every single option, right? That is the import mode, direct query mode, composite model. And as per the company's requirement, you have to go forward with any of the connection mode. So that was all about the different kind of connection mode and storage mode you can have. And we will be meeting you in the next video with some more practical implementation in Power BI. So thank you. All right, guys. So in this specific video, we will be focusing upon that if we are having the data stored into a SQL database, then how exactly we will be able to gather the data from a SQL database itself, right? So we were talking about the connections, that we can have multiple connection wherein we can have the imported connection, and we can also have some connections wherein directly from the company's database we have to gather the information, right? And definitely, if you're connecting to the company's database, then you need to have the knowledge then how exactly you will be able to connect to the company's database, right? And just in order to make things easier, we will be showing you a practical implementation that how exactly you will be able to connect to the database, right? So if you are storing the information in your database, or if you are trying to extract the information from the company's database, you will be able to do it by just looking into this practical implementation itself, right? So first of all, we will be looking into that how exactly we can create a database in MySQL Workbench. So in this specific tutorial, we are making the use of MySQL Workbench for creating the database, right? And there are some prerequisites that you have to take care of from your side before working with MySQL database, and that is in your settings option, you'll get to see that for first of all, you have to run this command, and then you have to run over here, that is services.msc. And then on running it, you'll get to see this interface wherein if I'm just scrolling down, then in M option, you'll get to see that there is an option of MySQL 80. So you always have to make sure that this is running, right? As if it is not running, then you won't be able to create a database from your side. So that's why first thing you have to make sure about this thing, that you are first of all navigating to the run window, and then you are searching for services.msc, and then you are making sure that your MySQL is running, right? So these things, when you are making sure from your side, then you can go forward with MySQL Workbench. So we will be showing you that how exactly you can create a new database over here. So first of all, let us go with this plus option. So you can see in this MySQL connections, we can create a new connection over here. So I'm going to click on this plus option. All right, and you can name your connection. So you can give any connection name. So we are naming it as product details. All right, so this is our connection name, and then our host name. So your host name is going to be 127.0.0.1 itself, and your port is going to be 3306, right? And your username is going to be root. These are like the standard things that you'll see in your laptop as well. All right, and these things you always have to take care of, that what exact username you are providing and what password you are providing. Just because whenever we are going to connect the database with respect to our own Power BI desktop, then at that time you have to enter these credentials. So this username and your password is going to be the credential via making the use of which you will be able to connect the database with respect to Power BI. So that's why you always have to make sure about these things, that you are well aware that what exactly is your username and what exactly is your password. So you can set the password from your side via clicking on this option, that is store in vault. So if I'm clicking over here, I'm setting some password for me. All right, I'm clicking on OK. And now I'm going to test the connection. So you can see that you have successfully made the MySQL connection. But let me tell you again that in your services.msc, if you're not turning it on, if your MySQL 8.0 is not running, then you won't be able to see this message on the screen. On clicking on test connection, you won't be able to see that you have made the successful connection with respect to MySQL. So you always have to make sure about this thing that MySQL 8.0 is always running, right? All right, so once we are done with this, I'm going to click on OK, and I will be able to see my new connection over here. So let me click over here. And you can see that you are having a new interface over here, and we'll just drop the schemas that we are having already. And let us create our own database over here. So let me make the use of the SQL command. So we are going to make the use of command as create database as sales, right? So by using this SQL command, I will be able to create my new database, and the name of the database is going to be sales. So let me refresh over here on the schemas option, and you'll get to see your new database which has been just created, right? And now let me click on this option over here, and let us go on to the tables. And on tables, if you are just right click, if you'll just right click, then you'll get to see that there is an option over here, and that is table data import wizard, right? So if I'm just clicking over here, then you'll get to see that you are having these options, right, wherein you can simply create these CSV files. You will be able to import your own JSON files, right? So this is exactly how you can do it. So just in order to make things more clear to you, we will be creating a new database. Again, I will be showing it to you that how exactly you can create a database. So again, let me create a database for you as create database products. That's because you're looking into the product details table, right? So that's exactly how you're going to create your database. Once you have created your database, you'll get to see this option that a successful message you'll get to see that this SQL query has successfully run, right? And now you have to refresh over here. You'll get to see your table getting created. And then on tables, you have to right click, and then you have to click on table data import wizard. And now you have to select your CSV file. So this is a kind of easy way to connect your CSV file, right? As if you're not following this procedure, then you won't be able to connect to a CSV file. So that's why it's always important to go forward with this procedure, right? So let me browse over here, and let me connect to the company product categories lookup CSV file. I'm going to open it, then I'm going to click on next, and I'm going to create a new table over here, and let me name my table as product categories. All right, so this is going to be my table name, and let me click on next, and you can see the data type which has been assigned to the product categories column and to the category name column, that is text, and encoding is going to be UTF-8. Let me click on next, and then these tasks will be performed, that is preparing import, and then importing will be happening over here itself. Then you have to click on next, and you'll get to see that these commands are used successfully run. And let me click on next, and your data is imported now. But just to make the things clear, you can simply use this database just because you're having multiple database over here. So you should make the use of this command as use, or you can just make the use of this command as use and then that specific database name. So our database name is products, right? So I'm going to write this command as use products. I'm going to run this command, and you can see successfully we have run this command. And now whenever we want to make the use of these commands like show tables, so that I will be able to see all of the tables which are there in my database, then I should always make the use of this command as use and then that specific database name. Just because you always have to make sure about this thing that first of all you should select the database, and once you are selecting the database, then only you can run this command as show tables, right? As then only you will be able to see that what all tables you are having in that specific database which you are using. So now we are, just because we have successfully run this command, so now I can go forward with this command, that is show tables, to get to see that what all tables we are having here, right? So you can see only one table we are having over here, which we have just imported right now, and that is product categories. And let me see that what exactly this product categories is consisting of. So let me use this command, select star from product category. So some basic knowledge of SQL you definitely will be requiring before exactly going forward with this. So that is something you have to always make sure from your side. And now let me run this command. And you can see that we have success. We are having our data set imported over here. We are able to see our table info over here as well. So that's exactly how you can create your database and your tables, right? So the same procedure you can apply. So in a similar way, if you want to import some new CSV files as well, then again on over here itself in the products database, you can click on this option. You can import some more CSV files over here as well, right? So this is going to be the procedure that you should apply from your side. And let me just save it. So let me name this file as sales of product SQL data, right? All right, so we are done with this. So you can see on the screen that we have successfully created our database, that is products, and we are having our table as product categories. So this specific table we will try to import via making the use of Power BI. Right. So this, first of all, whenever you are working with the databases, so first of all, you need to have a kind of proper knowledge about these things, and then only you can connect to Power BI, right? So we are done with this. And one more thing I would like to show it to you over here, and that is you can see that our database name. So schemas are another name for a database. So our database name is products and sales, and our connection name is product details. So while I'm going to connect to MySQL, that there are chances that some of the students used to make this error most of the time, as they used to repeat some error all the time, which we will be showing it to you when I will be navigating to Power BI. That my connection name is product details over here, and my table name was something else, right? So in order to show it to you, let me get into my Power BI desktop interface, and over here itself, you can see that we are having these options to connect to a database, right? Now into this interface itself, you can see that we are having this option of database, and you can see that how many number of database with which we can connect to, right? And even if you're searching over here as SQL, then you'll get to see that how many number of SQL database we will be able to connect it with. And once you will be able to have the knowledge that how exactly you can connect to a specific database, then the things are a bit easier. You know, the things are similar with respect to each other, wherein if you are having the knowledge to how to connect to a MySQL database, then a similar kind of procedure you will be applying with respect to PostgreSQL database as well, and with respect to other database as well. So just one tutorial will be required to show it to you. Just because we are working with MySQL Workbench and we are making the use of MySQL database, so that's why I will be going forward with this option. I'm going to connect, and my server name you can see over here is going to be 127.0.0.1, and then that is going to be our host name, and then your port is going to be 3306. So you can enter these details. So server is going to be the server address over here. So let me enter it over here, 127.0.0.1.06. And now into my database, I'm required to enter the details at what exactly should be my database, right? Or what exactly should be my database name. So most of the students, what exact mistake they used to do is that they used to write the name of this MySQL connection name as a database, as product details, right? And you get to see that if I'm writing this specific connection name over here as product details, right? This is the name of my connection name, right? And if I'm clicking on OK, then you'll get to see that it would definitely not be able to come up with this answer that what exactly the specific database is. Just because, and you have to edit over here, just because you can see over here that into my connection, my database name is something else, right? My database name is going to be either sales or it is going to be products, and that is what my database name is. So you always have to take care about this thing that what exactly should be your database name, right? Well, just because we are trying to connect to products database, so that's why that is something I have to write over here. So let me navigate back to my Power BI desktop, and then I will be naming it as products as my database name. And you can see some advanced connections over here as well. And for the first time, when you will be trying to connect to a MySQL database, and you will be required to enter the credentials as well. So whatever username I was showing it to you over here, that is if I'm just clicking on edit connection by right clicking over here, you can see the specific username. So this username is, so when you are first trying to connect to MySQL database for the first time, then you will be required to enter these details as well. That is the username and the password, right? So whatever password you have entered from your side while you were trying to create this connection, that is you should always remember, right? As that password you will be required to enter most of the time. So that's why you always have to make sure about this thing that the password should be clear to you, and then the username you should enter is going to be root when you will be asked to enter the credentials, right? So these things you have to take care of from your side. And now let me go back to my Power BI desktop, and my database name is products. I have entered the proper server address, and let me click on OK. And you'll get to see that you are able to connect to your MySQL database, right? So this procedure you can apply in most of the scenarios, as in most of the cases, and in other database as well, you will be able to see this similar option. So similarly, you can connect to the other database as well. You just have to remember that what exactly is your server address and what exactly is your required uh, database name, right? And let me click over here, and then let me load it. So Power BI desktop is getting connected with respect to my database, and you can see that it is getting loaded now. So as soon as you're going to load some data, or as soon as you're going to load some information, first of all, it will be getting loaded into your model as well, right? Which we were showing it to you in the previous videos as well. All right, so the data is getting loaded over here, and you can see in your data view that successfully we have loaded our entire data set, and that is all the information that is stored into my database, right? And now you can work with these tables which you have stored into your database. So this is how easily you can connect to a MySQL database. So whenever you want to connect to a MySQL database, this is going to be the same procedure that you have to apply. So definitely a kind of knowledge you will be requiring in MySQL or in SQL. So some queries you have to take care of. So some queries you have to learn from your side that how exactly you can run these queries. And once you are having a proper knowledge about MySQL, then you can come over here, and this similar procedure you have to apply. It's a kind of very basic procedure, right? And by applying this procedure, you will be easily able to connect to a MySQL database. And that would be all regarding that how exactly you can connect to a database. And we will be meeting you in the next video with some more important learning, right? So thank you guys. All right, guys. So now we will be looking into that how exactly we can gather the data from a specific data source, and that is going to be the web scraping option that we can have. So in one of the video, we were discussing that AI has just came up with this data gathering option wherein AI is capable to gather the data from a CSV file. So whenever we are storing our information into any of this imported data format that we were referring to in one of the video, that was a type of connection that we can have. So into that video, we were discussing that if we are having a CSV file, then that is a kind of imported data connection that we can have, right? So with AI right now is able to work with the CSV files or in any of the file format. And with respect to this file format, it is capable to perform the analysis, right? Just because the data is stationary over there and the data is not exactly getting changed with respect to time. But what if there is a situation wherein the data is getting changed on each and every single day basis? As we were discussing in one of the video that we have to make the use of this keep columns option in the Power Query editor, which will be making sure that these specific columns would gonna remain as it is, even if the number of columns are increasing or decreasing in the next month, right? So that was something related to the dynamic data. So dynamic data is a kind of data which will be getting updated onto a website, right? And then as soon as some information is getting changed into that website, the information will be getting changed or the data will be getting appended into Power BI backend as well. And as the information is getting changed in the Power BI backend, you will get to see the changes happening in the dashboard as well. So this interface that you can see, which is being used for showing you the report view. So over here itself, you'll get to see the changes as soon as the information is getting changed on the website. And that's exactly how the dynamic data used to work. So in order to have the dynamic data, you can make the use of the web scraping option. So web scraping will be helping you out to gather the information from a specific website, right? So into this get data option only, you can see that there is a web option available over here, right? This option you can see. Or if you are navigating to the more option, then you can see in this other option, there is a web option over here. That is what help us out in the gathering the website from a specific, that would actually help us out in gathering the information from a specific website, right? And this is something we used to do whenever we are working with the dynamic data. So we will be giving you the insight that what kind of data we are looking into. So you can see on the screen over here that we are having this data of the match between India and United States in World Cup 2024. So this information, so this complete information that you can see on the screen, we will be able to extract the information directly via making the use of Power BI itself. So when you are looking into the data gathering option via making the use of these Python libraries, so there is a specific Python library that is Beautiful Soup library, which will be helping you out to extract the information from a specific website, wherein you have to simply go forward with each and every single tag, which will be storing the information over here, right? So if you are just clicking on the inspect button that I've just shown you, by right clicking on the interface, you'll get to see that, and if I'm clicking over here, right? So if I'm just clicking in over here, you'll get to see that this specific information is stored into a H2 tag, into the backend of Power BI, into the backend of this website, right? So if you want to access this information, then you simply need to gather the information which is there in the H2 tag and you have to store it into a list. In the case of Python, you are making the use of. And then that list you have to convert it into a dictionary and then that dictionary will be getting converted into a data frame. So all of these steps you have to perform if you want to gather the information from a website via making the use of this Python library, that is the request library and Beautiful Soup library. And that is a kind of, that requires a lot of effort, right? Just because you have to go through the backend of a specific website, you need to go through each and every single tag which is storing the information. So definitely that would require a lot of time. But what if we can have a kind of way wherein automatically this complete information can be directly scrapped via just copying the link that you can see over here. So this web URL link that you can see over here, if we can have an option wherein directly by making the use of this link, the complete information over here can be scrapped into the backend of Power BI and we can have the access to the this information. And as soon as some information is getting appended into this specific URL, we'll get to see the changes happening into our visualization as well. So that functionality Power BI is having. So this functionality for having this functionality, I'm gonna make the use of this web option that you can see. And on clicking on that web option, you simply have to copy the URL. So we were having this URL for that specific website. And there's some advanced option as well, wherein if you want to specify that what kind of HTTP request you are sending. So each and every single, so these advanced options definitely you don't really need to look into at this point, but we will be going forward with this basic web scraping option itself. And I want to click on OK option. So now out of our ETL technique, that's exactly how we will be extracting the information from a website. So automatically the complete information that is stored in the backend of that website will now be shown into Power BI. So it is taking some time to gather the information from the backend, but automatically the things are happening, right? You don't even have to make the use of these libraries like the Beautiful Soup library and the other libraries for gathering the information. So there is no such complex task which is required. And even if you're making the use of AI, then AI won't be able to dynamically scrap the information every time, right? Like you have to run that code again and again. But in Power BI, there is a refresh button that we will be looking into in the further videos, which will be helping you out to dynamically change the values in the visualization. So as soon as some values are getting changed in the web view or in the website, you'll get to see the changes happening in the visualization by just clicking on that refresh button. All right, so if I'm looking into one of the table, that is table 3 or table 2, let us go with table 1. So this table 1 is representing the same information that was there on the website, right? That Arshdeep Singh is the player of Team India and whatever info Arshdeep Singh is having that you can see on the screen. What was the impact of that baller? So each and every single information, right? And then even if you want to have a look, so this overview you can see on this interface itself. And along with that, if you need to get into the web view as well of that website, so you get to have this option wherein you can see that what exactly is that website is showing to us, right? And see, that's how easy it is, right? So automatically the things are happening over here. You don't even need to make the use of these functionalities, or you don't even need to make the use of these libraries like the Python libraries, right? So now if I'm interested in this specific table, and let me go forward with some another table as well. Let's go with table 6. Yeah, so you can see that this table 6 is representing some important information, right? And who exactly won the toss, what exact series it is, and then what season it is. So we can look into this table 6 information as well. Then we can look into table 7 information as well. It is also representing some important information. So you can see that how easily we are able to scrap the information, right? Directly by copying that web URL link, you can have the access to this much large amount of information. And if I'm interested in these 3 tables itself, then I will be loading it in the backend by clicking on that transform data option, right? And then at the backend of Power BI, you will be having the access to this information at the backend itself. And then whatever transformation you want to make from your side, you will be able to make it via making the use of Power BI itself. So you can see on the screen that the information is there, right? So as we were mentioning that some of the times there is a specific scenario wherein the column name is not exactly promoted as a header, right? That we were discussing in that assignment as well. So over here as well, you can see that the player name is not exactly present as the column name over here. So for that, there is an option that you can see on the screen, and that is use first row as header. So if you're clicking over here, so this option will be making sure that this first row will now be promoted as the header, right? And now it looks good, right? And then you can change the information as well over here. You can change the table name as well. That is, let us name it as players info. And then you can see the name changing over here. The table name is also getting changed over here, right? So each and every single thing, each and every single information Power BI is able to scrap. It is also able to figure out that what exactly is the data type of each and every single column. So you can see that how easily you can work with the dynamic data scraping, right? So this was one of the way to show you that how exactly the web scraping option works. And if you want to work with the dynamic data scraping, or if you don't want to get into the web scraping option of Python libraries, then you can directly go forward with this web URL copying option that is there in Power BI, right? So that was all in this video. So definitely you can also try from your side to scrap the information from some of the websites, and you can see that how cool Power BI is, right? In terms of data scraping and with respect to these functionalities. So all right, guys, we will be meeting in the next video with some new cool stuff. So thank you so much for your time. So hello everyone. So now we will be focusing upon the data assessment part that we were referring to, wherein as we were going forward with this process, wherein we were discussing that what all steps we are going to have or what all steps we need to follow whenever we are going forward with a data analytics project or with respect to a business analyst project, right? So we were referring to one of the step, and that was the data assessment step, wherein once we have gathered the data or once we have extracted the information from the main source, then we need to perform the assessment onto that data, that what kind of data we have just gathered, right? So we need to simply look into each and every single column, that what exactly is the data type for that specific column, then what all information we can extract out of each and every single column. So that complete information we need to look into whenever we are performing the data assessment. So in pandas, we are having these functions, like we can have this info function, we can have this describe function, which will be giving us the complete insight that what kind of data distribution we are having, right? Then we are having these visualizations, like we can make the use of box plot, which will be giving us the insight that whether if we are having any outliers present into our columns or not. So all of these multiple charts and all of these functionalities which we can have in pandas and in the other libraries will be helping us out in performing the assessment that what kind of data we are storing or what kind of data we are having into our columns of the table, right? So in pandas, you might would have seen there is a function that is an info function, which used to give us this insight that what all number of missing values we are having and what all number of non-missing values we are having, right? Along with that, you can get the idea about the data type of each and every single column if you are making the use of this info function. Along with that, you're having this describe function in pandas, which will be giving you this insight that what is going to be the minimum value in a specific column, what is the max value, what is the standard deviation, then the interquartile range. So each and every single information you can get via making the use of these functions, which is there in pandas, right? But each and every single time going forward with these functions, and you have, if you need to look into that what all null values you are having, then you need to make the use of a function that is null function. If you need to get the idea that what all duplicate values you are having into a column, then you need to make the use of this function that is duplicated function. So you need to make the use of these multiple functions which is there in pandas, and there is no such automatic technique or a kind of automatic way which will be giving you this insight that what kind of data you are exactly having. And via clicking onto a specific option itself, there is no such way wherein you can get the idea that what is the exactly the data quality or the column quality you are having, or what exactly is the column distribution, and complete idea about the column profile you won't be able to get via making the use of these libraries, right? In a kind of automatic manner. So Power BI help you out in performing these steps, wherein via making the use of Power BI itself, you will get to know at what exactly is the quality of your column, then what exactly is the distribution of each and every single column. And along with that, a profile you can get with respect to each and every single column, which will be again giving you this insight that what is the min value, what is the max value, what is the count of each and every single column. So that complete insight you can get via making the use of this automatic technique, which is there in which is there in Power BI. And this technique we refer to as data profiling and these QA tools. So there are some tools in the Power Query editor itself in the backend of Power BI, which will be helping you out in performing this complete data assessment in a kind of automatic fashion, right? So you are not required to make the use of any function that is like a pandas function or any of the function. Automatically, you can get the information that what exactly is the distribution and the quality and the profile of each and every single column of your data set is. So these tools, we will be naming this specific tools as data profiling and QA tools, and we will be going forward with respect to each and every single tool to get to know that how exactly we are performing this automatic data assessment with respect to our columns or with respect to our data set, right? So for that, we are making the use of a new CSV file. So into our folder itself, we were having a specific table, and that was a customer lookup table. So we will be extracting the information from that specific CSV file itself. So I'm going to extract the data by clicking on this new source option, and then I'm going to choose this text CSV file. But simultaneously, at the same time, you can also perform these steps so that you get to know that what exactly is the assessment and how exactly you can perform the automatic assessment of your data set, right? So column quality, column profile, and column distribution are the three ways in which you will get to see that how exactly what exactly is a data distribution you are having. So I'll just give you a kind of brief idea until the data is getting loaded. So first of all, column quality will be giving you the idea about the quality of your columns that is there in the CSV file, right? So what all valid data you are having, what all error values you are having, and what all empty data you are having. So as soon as we are extracting out some data, or as soon as we are performing the extraction step, definitely we are going to come across this kind of data that is a empty data, that is wherein into a specific column a blank value we are going to get, right? So this blank values is something we used to refer it to as a empty data. Then the error values can be like wherein if a specific column data type is numeric, but if it is consisting of textual data, then that specific data we can refer it to as error data. And then the valid data is going to be that data which is completely satisfying the data type of that specific column itself, right? So these three kind of data points you will be looking into, that is the valid data, error data, and the empty data. Then the column distribution will be giving you this insight that how exactly the data is distributed into each and every single column of your data set, right? So histogram is being used for this purpose, wherein by making the use of histogram, you used to get this idea that what all data distribution you're having into a specific column, right? And then finally, you can make the use of this column profile option, which will be giving you this insight that a complete statistics. So when we used to make the use of this option that is there, that is a describe function. So describe function, the same insight which a describe function used to give us in pandas, that same insight we can get in Power BI itself. So we will be looking into our table, that is the customer lookup table. So here we are with our CSV file. So we will be extracting the information from here itself. All right, so you can see that what exactly are the columns, and along with that, there are multiple columns over here, right? So it will be easy for us to perform the assessment onto this kind of data just because it is consisting of multiple columns and multiple kind of data we are having, as you can see in this specific interface itself. So I'm going to click on OK, and now you can see on your interface that we are having this new CSV file with us, that is the customer lookup. So as we were mentioning in the previous videos, that the first step as soon as you are going to extract the data is to simply change the name of the specific table. So I'm going to rename it from company customer lookup into customer lookup itself. I'm going to press enter. So now we are ready with our CSV file, and we will be getting started with the data assessment step, that is the automatic data assessment step. So in the ribbon itself, you can see this option of view, right? So this view option is showing you these multiple options, that is the monospaced, column quality, column distribution, and column profile. So each and every single step that we were discussing, that was column quality. So first of all, we will be going forward with that. So as soon as I'm clicking on this column quality option, you can see this new interface, right? Which is showing you that what all valid data you are having, how much is the error data, and how much is the empty data you are having over here, right? So valid data is that specific data which is completely satisfying the data type and the kind of rest of the data you are having. So if if the data is satisfying all of the criteria, then it will be considered as a valid data. Then if there is a specific data which is not exactly satisfying the data type of a column, then you can call it as a error data. Along with that, if there are some blank values, then you can consider it as a kind of empty data, right? So if I'm just hovering over here, so on hovering, you can see that the information that is being extracted over here and the kind of profiling which is being done on the basis of the top 1,000 number of rows we are going to have. But just because in our data set, the total number of rows we are going to have is around 18,000. So definitely, if we are looking into the kind of data assessment for our complete table, so we won't be going forward with the top 1,000 rows, and we will be considering the complete data set or all of the data points which are there into our table, right? So that's why you can see this option wherein you can see that the column profiling is based on the top 1,000 rows. And now if I'm clicking over here, then you can simply select this option, that is the column profiling, that is based on the entire data set. And as soon as I'm clicking over here, you'll get to see that how much is the valid data, how much is the error data, along with that, how much is the error data which is there into each and every single column, right? So an automatic assessment is performed for each and every single column that is there. And over here, you can see that we are getting some error values, right? That is that is less than 1% values are there, but they are actually the error values. So you can see this option over here, right? That is a kind of suggested option we used to consider, or a kind of suggested action we used to consider it as, wherein if you're just simply coming across these error values, then on clicking on this option, that is remove errors, all of those error values which was being shown, now these error values are directly being removed, right? So directly by clicking on these options or simply by hovering over here, if you get to see these suggestions like this remove empty suggestion, now it is coming. So each and every single suggestion which this profiling tool is suggesting to you, you can simply go forward with it and you can get a kind of clean data, right? So directly you can get this clean data. You don't need to make the use of these functions like this drop function and drop any function and all of these functions that we used to have in pandas, right? So this first idea you would have been getting via making the use of this column quality. So over here itself, you can see that yeah, one more thing you can see over here, that the number of values that we're getting over here is around 99%, and the number of values that it is considering is around 18,000. So initially we were having the column profiling that was completely based upon the top 1,000 rows, but now we are going to consider these 18,000 rows or all of the data points that we are having into a column, right? And then what all empty data we are having, that numbers you can also see. And again, it is suggesting some action which will be helping you out to get a kind of proper transformed clean data. So you can again go forward with this option as per your requirement. And this is what the column quality option used to suggest to you. So this complete insight you can get via making the use of this first QA tool or the first data profiling and QA tool, that is the column quality. Now in the view option itself, you will get to see this option, that is the column distribution. So now this column distribution will be giving you this complete insight at how exactly the data is being distributed into each and every single column, right? So you can see these values, that what all distinct values you're having. So just because our customer key is going to be the primary key over here, and primary key used to have these distinct values. So each and every single value, just because it is going to be distinct. So you can see that our each and every single value or our 100% data is completely distinct over here. Along with that, just because the second column we are having is the prefix, so definitely a prefix won't be having multiple distinct values, right? Either we can have Mr. and Mrs. So that's why we are not exactly having some multiple distinct values over here into the specific column. Then over here itself, you can see that if I'm just hovering, so on hovering on this specific option, you can see that how many number of distinct values you're having. And again, it is suggesting some action. So again, some duplicate values that you're going to have, you can directly remove it by clicking over here. So in pandas, you can make the use of this drop duplicate function, which will be again helping you out in this removing these duplicate values, which is there into a column. But over here itself, you can simply click and you can have the same functionality, which will be helping you out to remove the duplicates, right? But what exactly this specific option is showing to you is what exactly is the distribution of each and every single column you are having, how many number of distinct values you are having, and how many number of unique values you are having, right? So this insight we are getting via making the use of this column distribution. So it is more like a kind of, so distribution is just like a kind of histogram that we used to create. Just like a histogram used to give us this insight that how exactly the data are being distributed into a specific column. So that similar insight we can get over here itself via making the use of this column distribution option, right? And then the final profiling tool we are going to have is going to be the column profile. So as we were discussing that this column profile will be giving you the complete insight that a describe function used to give it to you in the pandas, wherein what all count you are going to have and what all error you are having, and if you're exactly interested in the number itself. So if you're not interested in the percentage which was being shown in the earlier part, and if you're just interested in the numbers, that what all empty data you are having, what all distinct values you are having, so that complete insight you can get via making the use of this column profile option, right? So again, if I'm just going forward with a numeric column, and in the annual income section, you can see that you will also get to know that what is the min value, what is the max value, what is the average value, right? With this complete insight and in a kind of chart, you can get that how exactly the values are being distributed as well. And if you're hovering, then you'll get to know that some more insights over here, right? So you'll get to see that what is the percentage distribution of each and every single value that is there into the specific column. And that what gives you this complete insight that how exactly the data distribution is there. And with respect to each and every single column, you can perform this automatic assessment, right? So in the case of pandas, you won't be getting these automatic functionalities wherein the complete insight you will be getting, and then you will also be getting this suggested action with respect to the kind of data you're having. So definitely in Power BI, you will be getting these options wherein the automatic assessment is going to be there. And definitely you need to perform a proper assessment before going forward with the modeling phase, just because, and before exactly going forward with this cleaning phase. Because if you're not exactly performing the assessment, then you won't be knowing that how exactly the data is there into each and every single column and what all data types you're having, and the complete insight you won't be able to get if you're not exactly performing this assessment. So as soon as you're extracting the information, make sure that you are performing this assessment step from your side. And this is what exactly these data profiling and QA tools is. So we will be definitely suggesting you that you should go forward with these options. That is the column quality, column distribution, and column profile option to get to know that how exactly that your data is. And that is all about the data profiling and QA tools. So we will be meeting you in the next video with some more important tools or some more important exciting insights, right? So thank you guys. All right, so in this video, we will be discussing about the text tools that we are having in Power BI. So we were looking into these columns or into these tables wherein each and every single table was having this numeric values and these text values as well, right? By numeric value, I mean to say that there is a specific column which is consisting of the numeric data, right? Like in this customer key, you can see that there is a numeric data, right? We are having these values which are in numbers. In a similar way, you can see that in the first name, last name. So you can see that the kind of value we are having is the textual data, right? You can even look into the data type over here. So the data type over here is being assigned as text only, right? So if you're working with such kind of data, then definitely, first of all, you can see that you can see the value distribution over here. So in the last video, we were discussing about that how exactly you can get the idea about the column profile. So in this video, we won't be discussing about that, and let's jump back to the text tools that we are having, right? So as soon as you're working with this kind of textual data, then there are some specific tools which are already there in Power BI. So we can make the use of these tools if we want to bring in some transformation into this textual data, right? So we are having these tools which are already present and which will be helping us out to work with these text tools, wherein if I want to change the format of these tools, if I want to create a new column, which will be giving us the insight about these text tools, and if we want to bring in any changes or any transformation with respect to these text tools, then we will be able to make it via making the use of Power BI itself. So you can see over here in the transform option, over here we are having this text column, right? So you can see that this text column toolbar or this ribbon is giving you the insight that what all changes you can make if you're having the textual data, right? Yeah, one thing I would like to show you over here, and that is right now you can see that in this specific ribbon or into this specific option, you can see that these specific options are not exactly glowing, right? Or we can say that these specific options are not exactly active at this point. But as soon as I'm clicking over here, you can see that these specific options are also now becoming active. So dynamically, this toolbar can get changed as soon as we are bringing in or as soon as we are moving from a textual column to a numeric column. So in this video, we will be focusing upon this textual data itself. So you can see that there are so many number of options which we can have over here, right? So first of all, we are having this option that is format. So into this specific column, if I want to make sure that each and every single value should be in a lowercase format, then I can simply make the use of this option. This option will be making sure that each and every single value that you can see over here is going to be converted into the lowercase. So let us try this, and I'm going to click over here, and you can see the changes happening, right? So this text data is now getting converted into a lowercase text, right? So just because we are not interested in that right now, so we will be removing that step. So this option you can see in the format option, first of all, then we can have this uppercase. So we can make sure that there is a specific column which is only consisting of uppercase data, right? Then we can capitalize each word as well. So if this specific column is consisting of multiple words and we want to make sure that the first letter of that word should be in a capital format, then we can do it by making the use of this capitalize each word option. Then we can have this trim option and clean option as well, wherein this trim option will be making sure that if we are having a data or the data in the specific column is consisting of these multiple words which are having a separator in between them. So the separator can be a space, right? So for these multiple words that we are having into a column, so if we want to remove or if we want to simply delete that specific separator like a space, then we can make the use of trim option. So trim option will be making sure that in between your data or in between your textual data, there shouldn't be any space, right? So that we can do via making the use of this trim option. And clean operation used to perform the same operation, just a kind of upgraded kind of version you can get for via making the use of clean option, right? So this format will be making sure that whatever format you want to keep your column textual data into, you will be able to keep it. Then we are having this split column option over here, which will be helping you out to create a new column. So we were discussing in one of the video, right, that we can generate a new column which will be having the data which is going to be there before a specific delimiter, right? So in that video, we were discussing that how exactly we can generate or we can extract the data before a dash. So that dash was being considered as a delimiter over there. So in a similar way, if you want to split this specific column or any column which is consisting of a delimiter, so you can simply go forward with this option that is by delimiter. And you can simply specify that what exactly what exactly the delimiter you are considering from your side, right? In a similar way, if you want to split a column by the number of characters, that is also something you can do. Then you can basically convert that by lowercase to uppercase. Then if it is an uppercase format, then you can split this column into a new column. And you can have that new column which is consisting of the lowercase data from that uppercase data we are having in this column. Then by digit to non-digit and by non-digit to digit, each and every single operation you can do, and if you can simply split your column via making the use of this option, right? Again, we are having this extract option, which will be, so in this specific column, you can see that we are having multiple values, right? So in this first row, we are having John, which is having the number of characters as 3. Now in the second row, we are having the number of letters as 6, right? So this number of letters are exactly the length of that corresponding row, which is there into that column, right? So if you want to generate the number of characters which are there into your specific row, then you can simply go forward with this length option. So length for option will be helping you out to extract the data or extract the number of characters which are going to be there into your column row, right? In a similar way, if you want to extract the first character, last character, that is also something you can do. You can also specify a range, that what range you want to keep into, so that you can extract the data into the new column on the basis of that specific range that you have specified, right? Then you can again extract some data before the delimiter, as I was giving you that example of the dash. Then you can also generate the information that is going to be the text after delimiter. Then if you're having a kind of data wherein there are two delimiters which are present, right? So if you are having the information stored in between the two dash and we want to retrieve the data that is going to be there in between that two dash, then we will be able to do it via making the use of this text between delimiter option. So this will be helping you out to extract the information or extract the textual data, which is going to be there in between the delimiters. Then we can have this parse option as well. So this parse option will be helping you out to parse this data into XML and JSON. Then you can also see that there is an option over here that is merge column. So merge column will be helping you out to concatenate multiple columns together. So over here itself, we can see that we are having these multiple columns like prefix we are having, first name, last name we are having. So soon in this video, we will be discussing that how exactly we can work with these multiple columns and we can concatenate it or we can merge it so that we will be coming up with a new column which will be consisting of the combination of these multiple columns, right? And that is exactly what merge column used to do. So if you want to work with this merge column, you have to make sure this thing that you need to select multiple columns from your side. By selecting a single column, you won't be able to work with this merge column option, right? I can just show you. You just press on shift and click on the second column. You can see that the specific option is now becoming active, right? So this option you can have when you're selecting multiple columns. Yeah, but one more thing I would like to emphasize on from my side, and that is this add column ribbon, right? So there is going to be a huge difference in between transform and add column, wherein if you are clicking on this add column option and if you're trying to change the format of the specific column itself, then whatever format you're changing into, like for example, if I'm keeping it in if I'm keeping it in lowercase, then this specific option, that is format option in add column, will be making sure that you are going to generate a new column over here. So this will not be bringing in the changes into the same column, but it will be generating a new column wherein the format has been changed. But on the other hand, if you're working with this transform option, so this will be making sure that the transformation will be happening in the same column itself, right? So if you want to generate a new column, then you should definitely go forward with this add column option. But if you want to bring in the transformation into the same column itself, then you should go forward with this transform option, right? So we will be looking into one of the practical application wherein you can see that this specific prefix option, right? So this specific prefix option is having the complete data which is there into uppercase, right? But I don't want it in uppercase. What exactly I want is that the first letter of each and every single word that is over here, so that should be just in a capital format, and the rest of the letters which are here, that should be in a lowercase format. So we can do it from our side. What exactly we can do is that we can simply click on this column, then we can change the format of it and we can capitalize each word. So capitalizing it, you can see that M is getting capitalized and the rest of the letters which are there are being converted into a lowercase format, right? Now again, we were discussing that the merge column option is here and we can generate a new column over here as well. So what exactly I'm going to do is that I'm going to press on shift and I'm going to click on first name and last name. Yeah, one thing you have to make sure that if you are first of all selecting first name, first of all you're selecting last name and then you're pressing shift and selecting first name and prefix, then this merge column will be generating the new column for you, wherein the last name will be shown at first and then the first name and then the prefix, that is Mr. and Mrs. So you always have to make sure that the order matters over here. So whenever you are trying to merge these columns, you have to make sure that you are maintaining the order while selecting the column as well, right? So we will be selecting the prefix first of all and then pressing on shift and clicking on first name and then last name. And now I'm going to merge these columns together, right? All right, so soon we will be looking into that how exactly a new interface is coming over here, which will be giving us the insight that how exactly we can generate a new column over here, right? And one more thing you can do from your side, you can also you can also bring in the transformation such that the first name should also be capitalized and last name should also be capitalized, right? So that we can finally have a kind of better data as compared to this. So this is what exactly we are going to do. So into the first name column itself, I'm going to change its format such that the first letter of that specific column should be capitalized in a similar way for the last name, right? And now I can choose my prefix and then first name and then last name. I'm going to merge them. Okay, so it is taking some time. And once we will be bringing in this transformation, we will be looking into the, and just because we have to add a new column, right? So we can, it's better that if we are going forward with this option, and you can see that just because we are going to merge these columns and we are adding a new column, right? So that's why we have to make sure that we are not choosing that transform option, but we are choosing this add column option. So on choosing these multiple columns, and just because we are going to generate a new column over here, so we'll be going forward with this add column ribbon, and then I'm going to search, choose this option, that is merge column option. And now you can see that now we are having a proper interface which is coming, right? So this mistake you will also be making from your side. So you always have to make sure that you are selecting the proper option. So you're not going forward with a transform option when you are coming up with a new column, as definitely add column is going to be that specific ribbon that you will be choosing when you are going to generate a new column, right? So definitely I want to keep a separator in between. So these multiple column values that you're going to have. So you have to come up with a value which will be separating these multiple columns, right? So the separator, I can keep it as, let us go with a space. So Mr. space and then the first name and then a space and then the last name. And then we can change the name. So merge definitely not seem to be a good option. So we can go forward with full name, right? As the column name, I'm going to press enter or OK. And at the end, you can see that we are having a new merge column, right? So this specific column is having the prefix as well, first name as well, and last name as well, wherein each and every single value is separated by a delimiter. So this is exactly how it works, right? And you can see that in the applied step as well, we are having this step which is appended over here. So it's better to rename it and keep it as in a proper format, so that whenever we are looking into this video again and whenever we are revising the applied steps, it will be a bit easier for us to revise these things, right? So we can keep it as merged full name, right? So this is what we can keep it. And we are now ready with the transformation. And now we will be bringing in these changes into the front end. So I'm going to close and apply this operation into the front end. So the data is getting loaded into the model in the front end. And now if I'm just going into my model view over here, then into your table, that is a customer lookup table, you can see over here that we are having a new column, that is a full name column. So the changes are happening in the front end as well, and that's exactly how you will be bringing in the transformation into the textual data. So this is how easy it is, right? And definitely whenever you are bringing in some transformation, every time you should save the changes as well. And again, we would like to emphasize on this thing that if you are not, if you haven't selected that option, that was options and setting, and you can see that there is no such relationship that we can see over here in between multiple tables, right? So in the first video that we were discussing, that you have to make sure that in the option and setting, you have to make sure that there shouldn't be any automatic relationship that should be there. And the Power BI shouldn't be coming up with a relationship between these multiple tables. So for that, you have to make the necessary changes, which we have discussed in the previous video as well. So you have to make sure about that thing, and you have to save the changes as well as soon as you are bringing in those changes, right? So this is what exactly we were looking into, and this is what exactly that's exactly how these text columns used to work. So in the next video, we will be coming up with an assignment which you can try from your side, so that you will be getting better with these text tools, right? So that's all from our side, and we will be meeting you in the next video. So thank you guys. So here we are with our new assignment, and that is regarding the text tools that we were discussing in the last video, right? So this assignment is a pretty bit easy, right? You won't be taking a lot of time to solve this assignment, as very basic questions it is having, or very basic key objectives you have to come up with from your side. So let us look into the first key objective that is there, and that is you have to duplicate that email address column. So into your table itself, that is the customer lookup table, there is a specific column which will be giving you the insight about the email address, right? So to that specific column itself, you have to make sure that the domain name or you have to simply create a new column that should be a duplicate of that specific email address column itself. And then you have to name that specific column as domain name. So you have to simply rename that column, right? And then that's a very easy question. And then you will be moving forward with the next objective, and that is now the new column that you are going to create. So you are going to remove all of the text and characters which is going to be there irrespective of the domain name. So domain name you'll get to see at the end, right? So at the end itself, you'll get to see that there is a domain name like Amazon. It's going to be a domain name that you will be making the use of in your specific CSV file. So that you can simply keep it into your new domain name column. So that you have to do in the second key objective. So in the new, if you want to create this new column, so as we were discussing that there is a specific ribbon that is there, which is add column ribbon, right? So in that specific add column ribbon itself, you'll get to see this duplicate option, this duplicate to basically duplicate the given column. So that option you can directly see over there. So you can simply make the use of that option, and you'll get to have the new column, which is consisting of the domain name itself. And then you can go forward with the third objective, and that is going to be to use these transformation steps so that you can simply clean up that data which is there into your new column, and you have to capitalize that domain names. So Amazon, which is going to be your domain name, so you have to make sure that into that specific domain name, the first letter should be in a capital format, right? So that is what capitalizing is. So you can again go forward with that option which we have already shown you in the last video, which will be helping you out in this transformation. And finally, you can save these changes and you can apply these changes. So that is a pretty bit easy, right? So very basic key objectives we are assigning you in the second assignment, and I think it will hardly take you max to max around 5 minutes, right? So easily you can solve this assignment. And in the next video, we will be coming up with the solution of these key objectives. So we will be meeting you in the next video with the solutions. So thank you guys. All right, guys. So here we are with the solution of our second assignment. So we will be going forward with each and every single key objective, and we will be showing you that how exactly you can solve each and every single objective, right? So the first objective is to duplicate the email address column, and we have to rename it as domain name. Well, you can see over here that we need to create a new column, right? So if we are duplicating this email address column, so we are ultimately creating a new column, right? So for that, I will be opening Power Query Editor in the backend, and then in this add column option over here itself, you'll get to see, and in your customer lookup table, there is a specific column that is email address, right? So in this specific column, we have to duplicate it, right? So in this add column ribbon itself, you can see that there is an option to duplicate columns, right? So I'm going to click over here, and you'll get to see a duplicated column here. And we have to rename it, right? We have to rename it as domain name. So I'm going to double click over here, and you will be able to rename it as a domain name. Now in this new column or this duplicate column, we have to bring in the changes wherein each and every single text and character should be removed except for the domain name, right? So domain name you can see is Amazon over here. So we have to make sure that only Amazon should be shown, and whatever characters which are there like John24 at the rate should be removed, and .com should also be removed, right? So what exactly we're looking into is the domain name that is going to be there in between these two delimiters, right? So the text that is the Amazon is going to be there in between the delimiter that is at the rate and dot. So in between these delimiters, I'll be extracting out the text, so I will be keeping its format into, right? So for this, I'm going to transform this column, and just because I'm bringing in the changes into the same column itself, that's why I'm going forward with this transform ribbon, right? So over here, you can see this option of extracting the information, right? And we have to extract the domain name. So that's why I'm going forward with this option. And as I was telling that we have to extract the text between the delimiters. Just because we are having two delimiters over here, that is at the rate, and we have dot over here. So the starting delimiter is going to be at the rate, and the ending delimiter is going to be a dot. And I'm going to press OK. So here we are with our domain name, which is column which is only consisting of the domain name values into it, right? So now we will be going forward with our next objective, And that is we have to capitalize each and every single domain name, right? So again, in the transform tab itself, you'll get to see the format option. And here itself, you will be able to capitalize it. And here we are. So see, that's how easy it is, right? So you can simply solve all of these key objectives. So hardly it will take you around 1 or max 5 minutes, we can see, right? And then you can save and apply these changes. So on the save option over here, you can click and all of these changes will be getting saved, right? On clicking on apply, all of these changes will be getting applied over here itself. And now you can even click on this close and apply option and you'll get to see that how exactly you can change and you can apply these changes, right? So we will be meeting you in the next video with some more information, and there are some numeric tools in this as well, right? In this transform tab, you can see that there is a specific section which is concerned about the numeric columns that you are going to have. So we will be looking into this video as well, and we will be working with these numeric columns as well, or numeric column tools as well in the next video. So we'll meet you in the next video. So thank you guys.